Hi students, in this session we will discuss about the properties of convolution and then convolution in time domain and frequency domain. So that will give two theorems, that is time convolution theorem and frequency convolution theorem. Okay, first I will start with the properties. So to explain the properties I am considering two signals. To explain the properties, I am considering two signals. Let us consider two signals, x1 of t and x2 of t. So I am considering two signals. One is x1 of t, another one is x2 of t. The convolution of two signals is given by we all know the formula. x1 of t convolution x2 of t will be equal to integral minus into infinity x1 of tau into x2 of t minus tau d tau, or integral minus into infinity x1 of t minus tau into x2 of tau d tau. So we can use this formula or we can use this formula. Generally we will use the first one. So here I consider two signals as x1 of t and x2 of t. Now the convolution of two signals is given by x1 of t convolution x2 of t. x1 of t convolution x2 of t will be equal to integral minus infinity to infinity x1 of tau x2 of t minus tau d tau. We all know the formula. Okay, I earlier explained about that formula in the previous class. Now see the properties. See the properties of convolution. So with respect to the consider two signals, that is x1 of t and x2 of t, I am explaining the properties as follows. The first one is commutative property. The first property is commutative property. So we all know the commutative. That is x1 of t convolution x2 of t will be equal to x2 of t convolution x1 of t. Okay, commutative property states that if there are two signals x1 of t and x2 of t, x1 of t and x2 of t, then the commutative property states that x1 of t convolution x2 of t will be equal to x2 of t convolution x1 of t. x1 of t convolution x2 of t will be equal to x2 of t convolution x1 of t. Simply a plus b equal to b plus a, or a into b equal to b into a, like this. So this is the commutative. So it satisfies, that is convolution satisfies the commutative property. So the commutative property states that x1 of t convolution x2 of t will be equal to x2 of t convolution x1 of t. Next, distributive property. Distributive property. So we all know that a into b plus c will be equal to a into b plus a into c. The same way, apply that to the convolution. That is x1 of t convolution x2 of t plus x3 of t. x1 of t convolution x2 of t plus x3 of t will be equal to x1 of t convolution x2 of t plus x1 of t convolution x3 of t. So x1 of t convolution x2 of t plus x3 of t equal to x1 of t convolution x2 of t plus x1 of t convolution x3 of t. Okay, so this is the distributive property. So here I consider three signals x1 of t, x2 of t and x3 of t. Then the distributive property states that x1 of t convolution x2 of t plus x3 of t will be equal to x1 of t convolution x2 of t plus x1 of t convolution x3 of t. So this is distributive property. And the third one is these convolutions satisfies the associative property. So we all know the associative property, that is a into b into c equal to a into b into c. A plus b plus c equal to a plus b plus c. In the same way, so with respect to convolution, x1 of t convolution x2 of t, x1 of t convolution x2 of t convolution x3 of t will be equal to x1 of t convolution x2 of t convolution x3 of t. Okay, so here also I consider three signals x1 of t, x2 of t and x3 of t, and the associative property of the convolution states that x1 of t convolution x2 of t convolution x3 of t will be equal to x1 of t convolution x2 of t, the whole thing will be convoluted to x3 of t. Okay, this is nothing but associative property. And the next one, shift property. So for shift property, let us consider if x1 of t convolution x2 of t equal to z of t. Let us consider x1 of t convolution x2 of t. So x1 of t convolution x2 of t equal to z of t, then x1 of t convolution x2 of t minus capital T, x1 of t convolution x2 of t minus capital T, that is shifting, it is delayed by capital T seconds, that is x1 of t convolution x2 of small t minus capital T will be equal to z of small t minus capital T, that is whatever the shift occurred here, that shift will be occurred in output also. Simple logic. x1 of t convolution x2 of t minus small t minus capital T will be equal to z of small t minus capital T. Okay, simply it is shifted by capital T seconds, or it is delayed by capital T seconds. So if one of the signal, that is x2 of t, is delayed by capital T seconds, then the output also delayed by capital T seconds. Similarly, x1 of t minus capital T, x1 of small t minus capital T, that is the first signal is delayed by capital T seconds, that is it is shifted by capital T seconds, then x1 of small t minus capital T convolution x2 of t will also be equal to z of t minus capital T, z of small t minus capital T. So if there is a shift either in the first signal or in the second signal by an amount of capital T seconds, the same shift will be occurred at the output, that is the z of t will also be delayed by the same t seconds, the same shift, z of small t minus capital T. So if there is the shifting version in x1 of t, then the output also shifted by the same delay. Okay, same amount. And the last, in this x1 of t minus x1 of small t minus capital T1 convolution x2 of small t minus capital 2. So here x1 of t, the first signal is shifted by capital T1 seconds, and the second signal x2 of t is shifted by capital T2 seconds, that is the first signal is delayed by capital T1 seconds and the second signal is delayed by capital T2 seconds, then the output is delayed by both the combination, that is minus T1 minus, that is z of t minus T1 minus T2, z of small t minus T1 minus T2, that is if the both signals are delayed, the first signal is delayed by T1 seconds and the second signal is delayed by T2 seconds, that capital T1, capital 2 seconds, then the output will be delayed by the combination of both, that is z of t minus T1 minus T2. Okay, so this is with respect to the shift property. Okay, based on the shifting of the input signals, the output also shifts in the same way. So this is shifting property. The next one is width property. Width. For this, let us consider the duration of x1 of t and x2 of t be capital T1 and capital T2 respectively, that is the duration of x1 of t is capital T1 and the duration of x2 of t is capital T2, then the duration of the signal obtained by convolution of x1 of t and x2 of t. So if you perform the convolution of x1 of t and x2 of t, then the total signal duration will be equal to T1 plus T2, that is combination of both, because here the duration of x1 of t is capital T1 and the duration of x2 of t is capital T2. Now I convolved both x1 of t and x2 of t, that is x1 of t convolution x2 of t will have a duration T1 plus T2, the combination of both the durations. Okay, so this is regarding width property. And the last one, the important one, is convolution with an impulse. So we all know the unit impulse is represented with del of t. Now if we convolute a signal with this del of t, let us consider a signal x of t. If you convolute this x of t with its unit impulse, then the output is the signal itself, that is x of t only. Okay, there is nothing like convolution with an impulse. Very, very important. Convolution with an impulse. The convolution of a signal x of t with an unit impulse del of t, that is convolution of a signal x of t with a unit impulse del of t is the signal itself. So if we convolute any signal with an unit impulse, then the output is the signal, the taken signal, the given signal itself. Okay, that is x of t convolution del of t will be equal to x of t. X of t convolution del of t will be equal to x of t. That is, if we are going to convolute any signal with an unit impulse, then the output will be the signal itself. So that can be mathematically represented as x of t convolution del of t equal to x of t. Here the x of t is the signal and L of t is the unit impulse, and the output of the convolution of x of t and L of t is nothing but x of t. So this is the explanation of properties of convolution. Properties of convolution. Okay, here this convolution satisfies the properties of commutative, distributive, associative. Okay, and here it performs the shift property as I explained, and with property as I explained, because it will consider the combinations. If there is a change in input, the change will occur at the output also, as I explained. And finally, I explain the concept of convolution with an impulse. Convolution with an impulse. If we convolute any signal with an unit impulse, then the output is the signal itself. Okay, that is represented mathematically as x of t convolution L of t equal to x of t. So these are the complete explanation about the properties of convolution. Now we move on to the concept of convolution in time domain and frequency domain. That is nothing but time convolution theorem and frequency convolution theorem. We will move on to that. Now we will see about the convolution of signals in time domain and frequency domain. Okay, the concept of convolution in time domain and frequency domain. See, the convolution of signals may be done either in time domain or in frequency domain. So we can perform the convolution either in time domain or in frequency domain. So there are two theorems of convolution associated with Fourier transforms. Now we have two theorems of this convolution which are associated with the Fourier transforms. With the Fourier transform, the first one is time convolution theorem. Time convolution theorem. Here this theorem is associated with Fourier transform. The second one is frequency convolution theorem. So the concept of convolution can be associated with the time domain and frequency domain. So we have two types of theorems, that is time convolution theorem and frequency convolution theorem. Okay, so first I will explain about time convolution theorem and then I will go for the frequency convolution theorem next. So time convolution theorem. What the time convolution theorem states is, so the time convolution theorem states that convolution in time domain is equal to the multiplication of their respective spectra in frequency domain. That is convolution in time domain. Let us take two signals, x1 of t and x2 of t. There are two signals, x1 of t and x2 of t. Now I am performing the convolution in time domain. So in time domain I am performing the convolution of x1 of t and x2 of t, that is x1 of t convolution x2 of t. Now this convolution is equivalent to the multiplication of the respective spectra in frequency domain. So in frequency domain the Fourier transform of this one is x1 of omega, and in frequency domain the Fourier transform of x2 of t is capital X2 of omega. So here the time convolution states that the convolution in time domain is equivalent to the multiplication of their respective spectra in frequency domain. Multiplication of their spectra in frequency domain. So multiplication in one domain is equivalent to the convolution in other domain, or convolution in one domain is equal to the multiplication in other domain. Simple logic. So based on this we have the two theorems. First I go on with the time convolution theorem, the first one. That is, if, let us consider mathematically, I can write this in an equation format as, if x1 of t, I am considering two signals, x1 of t and x2 of t, and I am considering x1 of t is having a Fourier transform capital X1 of omega, and x2 of t is having a Fourier transform capital X2 of omega. Then a time convolution theorem states that x1 of t convolution x2 of t will have a Fourier transform, x1 of omega into x2 of omega. So see here in time domain we are representing the x with the small case, and in frequency domain I am representing the x with the uppercase, capital letters. I am representing with capital letters. Clear? So Simple logic. The time convolution theorem states that the convolution in time domain x1 of t convolution x2 of t is equivalent to the multiplication of the respective spectra in frequency domain. Mathematically, you can write as x1 of t convolution x2 of t will have a Fourier transform x1 of omega into x2 of omega. Just for mathematical considerations, I have considered two signals, x1 of t and x2 of t, and x1 of t is having a Fourier transform x1 of omega, and x2 of t is having a Fourier transform x2 of omega. Then x1 of t convolution x2 of t will have a Fourier transform capital x1 of omega into capital x2 of omega. So this is nothing but a time convolution theorem. So we have to prove this. Already you proved this while proving the properties of a Fourier transform. Okay, the same proof will be done here also. You all know the proof for this. Okay, for that reason I am going for the frequency convolution theorem. Frequency convolution theorem, the second one. The second theorem is frequency convolution theorem. Here the frequency convolution theorem states that the multiplication of two functions or two signals, the multiplication of two functions or two signals in time domain is equivalent to the convolution of their spectrum in frequency domain, is equivalent to the convolution of their spectrum in frequency domain. Already told you. So convolution in one domain changes to multiplication in another domain. In the same way, multiplication in one domain changes to convolution in another domain. So in frequency convolution theorem, I had taken the multiplication of the two functions in time domain. So that will be equivalent to convolution of their respective spectra in frequency domain. So here also take two signals, x1 of t, x2 of t. Now in time domain, if I go for the multiplication of these two, then that will be equivalent to convolution of the spectra in frequency domain. So in frequency domain, the Fourier transform of this one is x1 of omega, and for this is x2 of omega. So here that is equivalent to convolution of the spectra. That is, we are go for convolution of x1 of omega and x2 of omega in frequency domain. Here we will get 1 by 2 pi while performing the proof. Okay, simple logic. So this theoretical explanation mathematically I can written as, for this mathematical expressions I need two signals, x1 of t and x2 of t, and if x1 of t is having a Fourier transform x1 of omega and x2 of t is having a Fourier transform x2 of omega, then the frequency convolution theorem states that x1 of t into x2 of t, that is multiplication in time domain, is equivalent to convolution of their spectra in frequency domain. So this is convolution of their spectra, respective spectra. That is, for x1 of t the Fourier transform is x1 of omega, for x2 of t the Fourier transform is x2 of omega. So we get 1 by 2 pi into x1 of omega convolution x2 of omega. So in frequency domain we will represent x with capital letters. Okay, that is the only change. So finally, the frequency convolution theorem states that if x1 of t is having a Fourier transform in x1 of omega, having Fourier transform x1 of omega, and x2 of t is having a Fourier transform x2 of omega, then x1 of t into x2 of t will have a Fourier transform 1 by 2 pi into capital x1 of omega convolution capital x2 of omega. Simple. This is the mathematical representation of frequency convolution theorem. So in these two theorems, the thing what will happen is the convolution in one domain changes to multiplication of their respective spectra in frequency domain, other domain, or multiplication in one domain converts to convolution, and convolution in one domain changes to multiplication. This is the only thing that happens here. So this is the explanation about convolution of the signals in time domain and frequency domain, that they will giving two theorems, time convolution theorem and frequency convolution theorem. Okay, and the next topic is graphical representation of convolution. The next topic is graphical representation of convolution, or simply graphical procedure to perform convolution. So we know the equation of this convolution. How to perform this convolution using a graphical methods? So using diagrams. So you know the formula. So here, instead of simplifying the formula, you have to simplify using the diagrams. So the convolution formula, that is nothing but y of t equal to x of t convolution h of t, and that will be equal to integral, and this will be equal to integral minus infinity to infinity, integral minus infinity to infinity, x of tau h of t minus tau d tau. Okay, you all know the formula of that one. Okay, so that is y of t will be equal to integral minus infinity to infinity x of tau h of t minus tau d tau. Okay, so if to solve the convolution using graphical representation, they give the problem as like this. So first they'll give the values of x of t and h of t. So they will give the values of x of t and h of t. Listen carefully, I will explain the procedure how to perform this graphical representation of convolution. You have to do this at your home. This is for your practice, so listen carefully. Here simple, they will give the values of x of t and h of t. Okay, so x of t equal to e power 2t, h of t equal to 1 by 2t. They will like give some values to this x of t and h of t. Here, first of all, we have to know the formula. Here the formula is y of t equal to integral minus infinity x of tau h of t minus tau d tau. That means I need x of tau and h of t minus tau. So first draw the diagrams of x of t and h of t. Draw the diagrams of x of t and h of t. Let us say the shape of x of t is like this, and the shape of h of t is like this. Okay, simply. So see here. So x of t shape and h of t, anything. Okay, consider the shapes of the equations. So they will give the equations. For that you draw the diagrammatic formats. And replace the letter t with tau. Just in that equation replace t with tau, then you get x of tau and h of tau. You get x of tau and h of tau. So first I am replacing the term t with tau, and then keep x of tau as it is. Okay, and go for the reversal of this h of tau, that is h of minus tau. Go for h of minus tau. So for every change you have to draw the diagram. First consider x of t and h of t. Draw the diagrams and replace t with tau. So we have to consider x of tau and h of tau. Draw the diagrams. Next, keep x of tau as is, the diagram as is, and change h of tau to h of minus tau. That is reversal. So if it is in the positive side, then it will get to the negative side. So draw the diagram of h of minus tau, and then draw the diagram for a delayed version, or h of t minus tau, shifted version, h of t minus tau. Already you know h of minus tau, then you go for the shifted version, that is h of t minus tau. Draw the diagram of h of t minus tau. Then finally you get the diagrams of x of tau and h of t minus tau. Go for the multiplication of those two. I already explained you how to multiply two signals. So these two signals are multiplied with respect to the time instance. So go for the multiplication of these two with respect to the diagrams of their respective time instance. Okay, and here you have to get the limits of the integration. So after that you have to perform the integration. So here the limits of the integration will be governed by the combination, the combined region of these two signals. In the diagram you get the combined region of those two signals. Those combined region will be the limits of the integration. Then substitute those limits from the diagram of the combined region and solve the equation. Then you get the answer. This is the procedure to follow for finding the convolution using graphical representation. So this is nothing but the concept of graphical representation of convolution or graphical procedure to perform convolution. Simply, first they will give x of t and h of t. So replace t with tau. So you get x of tau and h of tau. Draw the diagrams of those two equations. For the equations, you have to draw the diagrams. First step. Next, you have to go for the reversal of h of tau. Keep x of tau diagram as it is and go for the reversal of h of tau, that is h of minus tau. Draw diagrams of x of tau and h of minus tau. Then keep x of tau as it is and go for the shifted version of h of minus tau as h of t minus tau. Draw the diagram of h of t minus tau. Then finally you get the diagrams of x of tau and h of t minus tau. Now you have to perform the integration with some limits. So here perform the multiplication, so you get a combined diagram of x of tau and h of t minus tau. There the limits will be taken as the combined region of these two will be the limits of the integration. So apply the limits and solve the equation, you will get the answer. So this is the procedure to perform the convolution using the graphical method, so graphical representation of convolution. So I hope you will understand this, and this is for your work. You have to perform the graphical representation of convolution, okay, at your home. This is your work, this is for your practice. So in this class I explained you about the properties of convolution, and then the concept of convolution in a time domain and a frequency domain. There we will get two theorems, that is time convolution theorem and frequency convolution theorem. So I had given the statements and the proof for these two already you did while performing the properties of Fourier transforms. So while performing the proofs of properties of the Fourier transform, you did the proofs of these two. So the same proofs you have to do again here also, okay. After that, for your work I had given the graphical representation of convolution. I explained the procedure to perform the convolution using graphical analysis. So I had given that for your work. This is today's class, okay. Thank you one and all.